Also during that cabinet meeting, questions about disgraced late financier Jeffrey Epstein.
The Jeffrey Epstein files. The Jeffrey Epstein case has caused backlash within President Trump's base. Some MAGA supporters
release the Epstein files.
DOJ announcing it would no longer release any more files on Jeffrey Epstein.
There isn't a single soul on this planet who hasn't heard by now about the genocide happening in Gaza. As of mid-July 2025, an estimated 58,700 people have been killed, and approximately 140,000 have been injured. Almost every human rights organization has repeatedly reported on Israel committing war crimes.
Israel is responsible for one of the cruelest genocides in modern history.
For over a year, we've witnessed utter carnage unfolding right before our eyes in the occupied Gaza Strip with no end in sight. Many have described this carnage as the first live-stream genocide, day after day. What has your government done to prevent this genocide? What have your political leaders done? What are they doing now?
Even some Israeli politicians have begun to admit that Israel is committing war crimes.
The statements made by Israeli cabinet ministers, the leading cabinet ministers, that say we should starve Gaza. What is it if not a war crime?
These crimes have angered people all around the world, especially in the West.
Large parts of the administrative capital in the Netherlands colored red in protest against the Dutch government's support for Israel.
People are demanding an end to the war and a complete severing of all relations with the Israeli regime.
So it's an oppression that's been going on for decades, so that's why people are angry.
I'm really frustrated and sad that the government just doesn't listen to us, doesn't listen to the Palestinian cause.
But their politicians, well, they have a different view on this.
We will, of course, continue to stand by Israel's right to self-defense.
And I don't think we need a commander-in-chief who is neutral between the Palestinian terrorists and one of our strongest allies in the world, the nation of Israel.
I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror. You have to support that.
The question is simple. Why do they continue to back Israel unconditionally, no matter the cost?
Well, we definitely received substantial evidence that he was involved in trafficking young women and children to the Virgin Islands, and that these young girls and women were subject to sexual assault, sexual exploitation.
Jeffrey Epstein, a simple math teacher from Brooklyn, New York, suddenly became an incredibly powerful and wealthy man, owning a private island and a private jet.
He owns a private island. That's an island over a mile away from St. Thomas, the main island. He owns the jet that flew in to the airport, and he owns the helicopter and the boats that took or transported him and the women and children over to the island.
But how did Jeffrey Epstein, once just a high school math teacher with no rich family, end up gaining this much wealth?
How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from?
How did he become connected to all these powerful figures?
When you see someone connected with powerful people, and it's known that these powerful people are his friends and associates, that alone is intimidating to the ordinary citizen who's sitting there and watching this and say, ooh, that does not look good.
The answers to these questions aren't exactly difficult if you're willing to look closely.
It's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that.
Was Jeffrey Epstein a Mossad asset?
Well, Alex Acosta, Florida prosecutor, declared him to be, said that he belonged to intelligence.
I say all the time, and I'm going to repeat it here. I think the reason why even in death he's being protected is I believe pretty strongly that he was a Mossad access agent.
And is there evidence that suggests he might have been working with a foreign intel agency?
Well, first of all, the source of his wealth has always been mysterious. I mean, he wasn't just very rich. He was living the life of a multi-billionaire. He had, $50 million properties in Manhattan and West Palm Beach and
New Mexico.
Bought that island, New Mexico, flying around on a 747. This is not just like somebody who's very wealthy. This is somebody with essentially unlimited resources. One of his primary benefactors is Les Wexner, who is a multi-billionaire. Les Wexner has all sorts of ties to, like, his main non-money making endeavor in life is supporting Israel and donating to pro-Israel groups and working closely with the Israeli government. Ghislaine Maxwell, who's now in prison as having been essentially his right-hand man, her father, Robert Maxwell, who died in a very mysterious way, he slipped off his yacht, was a known Mossad agent. He worked with the Mossad. He had very close ties to Israel. We all know
he was given a state funeral.
Yes, in Israel.
A honey trap is a secret tactic used to lure someone, often a powerful or important person, into a compromising situation using charm or romance. The goal is to gather information, manipulate, or blackmail the target by exploiting their trust or desires.
9 months of meeting Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Virginia was being flown halfway around the world to have sex with Epstein's wealthy associates. A little girl amongst a sea of men.
I was a baby stuck in a world where grown-ups were allowed to do whatever they wanted, and I was lost.
And so began Virginia's new life, still on call for Epstein, but also for any friend he chose.
I was trafficked to other billionaires. I was trafficked to politicians, professors, even royalty. It was the elite of the world. It was the people who run the world. It was the most powerful people in the world.
Let's say you are the leader of the Mossad, and you want really tightly held, closely protected information from senior American leaders, political leaders, business leaders. You can't recruit those people. You're not going to recruit Bill Clinton. You're not going to recruit Bill Gates or any of the other people, Prince Andrew. You're not going to recruit those people. So you do the next best thing. You recruit somebody who has ready access to them.
That's right.
And then on top of that, you give him an unlimited amount of money where he's got this private island in the Caribbean and a private jet where he can fly his friends down there. You wire the house for audio and video so nothing is overlooked. And you ply them with alcohol and underage girls. And you've got him. You've got him.
Why do you think Epstein did that to you?
He used me as a form of blackmail, so, these people would owe him favors. So he wanted to always have something on someone just in case he needed it.
You say to them, look, you just had a 16-year-old girl, and so you're going to tell me what I want to know. Or they know what the game is. They know what they've done. Otherwise, we wouldn't have people coming out and saying, well, I kept my underwear on. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
I think that that's what this was. I think that this is, because we all know that the Israelis spy on us. I mean, they're worse than the KGB or whatever the KGB calls.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
For the intelligence community in the United States, Israel is ranked as critical threat for counterintelligence.
So Israel blackmails these politicians and powerful people, ensuring that no matter how many people are killed or how many war crimes are committed, these politicians remain silent and do nothing. So next time you wonder why Western politicians refuse to acknowledge the undeniable fact that Israel is committing genocide, something the whole world can see, Remember Epstein and his mysterious island.